It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence, where we're taking a history lesson together. You know, I went over a bunch of stuff. You know, I was hoping I'd have more time to do this. We've been, working on the site today, getting that all taken care of. And, all of a sudden, Mubarak decided to leave. Well, this has happened before, exactly the same way. In fact, it was Mubarak that was made VP under Sadat under the same kind of circumstances. Right then, what happened to Sadat? Some soldiers came out and went, boom, you dead. And then he took over. I'm going, okay, so I guess he figured he'd just as soon not wind up dead. So this keeps happening over and over and over. Let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and finish reading some of the CIA bio on this thing, on Egypt, so you kind of get an idea of what's going on. A local military caste, the Mamluks, took control about 1250 and continued to govern after the conquest of Egypt by the Ottoman Turks in 1517. Now, the Ottoman Empire was pretty big itself. It kind of, the eastern part of, it went from Turkey now all the way down to Saudi Arabia and even further than that. So it was a pretty good chunk of land. Following the completion of the Suez Canal in 1869, a lot of people don't know that thing's old, Egypt became an important world transportation hub, but also fell heavily into debt. Ostensibly, to protect its investments, Britain seized control of Egypt's government in 1882, but nominal allegiance to the Ottoman Empire continued until 1914. Now, from 1913, 17, around in there during World War I, what happened to Egypt then? Well, it's kind of, this Ottoman Empire thing where the British came over and Lawrence of Arabia came out of Cairo. A lot of that movie centers around Cairo and then in the Arabian Peninsula. Partially independent from the United Kingdom in 1922, whatever partially means, Egypt acquired full sovereignty with the overthrow of the British-backed monarchy in 1952. We'll find out just how independent they became. The completion of the Aswan High Dam in 1971 and the resultant Lake Nasser have altered the time-honored place of the Nile River in the agriculture and ecology of Egypt. A rapidly growing population, the largest in the Arab world, limited arable land, and dependence on the Nile all continue to overtax resources and stress society. The government has struggled to meet the demands of Egypt's growing population through economic reform and massive investment in communication and physical infrastructure. Now, that's a CIA summary of Egypt. Okay, now they have it for, every country. They do this. Now, you look at some of the stats on it. The area is about the size, just a little bit smaller, maybe 10, 15% smaller than the four corner states in southwest United States. Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah, those four states together are about the size of Egypt, a little bit bigger. So it gives you kind of an idea. Now, there's about 80 million people there. And I think, man, it must be, almost, it's like 20 million or something in Cairo. It's a lot, it's a chunk. We'll find out here in a little bit. Now, keep in mind, with the Suez Canal, which was done in 1800, around Civil War time, the United States Civil War, and they got the Suez freaking Canal. This is a huge project. This is like, we invented steel. We have steam engines now. We're getting to doing. We got to, shipping in a bunch of Arabs with shovels or something. But I mean, here we go. When you have that, that's what Marco Polo was all about, and all this stuff was a trade route from Europe to China, going all the way around over there. Then you get into books like Shogun about how the sea traveling with the Portuguese and Spain and the Pope involved and England and all this and the Dutch and all that kind of stuff just to get to Japan. This is by being able not to have to go around the Horn of Africa. They were going through the Suez Canal. That's big, 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 big money. Here in the Western Hemisphere, we have the Panama Canal. Excuse me. Now think how much you think that the United States is not going to control the flow of commerce in the Panama Canal, which they're widening, by the way. I think they're doing a bunch of other stuff there. In China, they're doing a big project in their, how was they call it, the Yangtze, the Yellow River there, the Three Gorges Dam. And they have there to transport from one level up to the other level in, behind the dam, they're using battleship elevators. It's not even locks. It's not water. It's like you go up a dry dock and an actual elevator takes you up in your ship. And I'm going, okay, so I guess that's what happens when you go 140 years later. Because 140 years ago, Suez Canal. Now they are on the trade route going into the Middle East. It is Western Judeo-Christian, whatever the heck, on northwest of Egypt. Then you have Islam, going southeast generally. Then you have access to, it was also a port where Cairo, people would come in and start their journey there, or Jerusalem, around, on the eastern part of the Mediterranean. It was their journey starting to go to Asia on land routes. So a lot of caravans came through. That's where you start. Also, you get into the Bedouin tribes. The Bedouins are nomadic people that live in the desert, from oasis to oasis, and just traveling very fast, and became very big part of Lawrence of Arabia's battle against the Ottoman Empire during World War I. So this is kind of the, a little bit of history that's there. Now, what happened was, when you look at the lines in the Middle East, for you have Kuwait and Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates and Yemen and Iraq, and all, you get into these lines, even Iran. Iran is its own culture. It speaks another language. It doesn't speak Arabic, it speaks Farsi. They are Persians. They are a different race. And they're a different, primarily a different denomination of Islam. So Iran really can't be lumped in with Arabs because they're not Arab, okay? But the lines that were drawn, all these straight lines out in the middle of the desert and everything, were done by British and French map makers. After World War I, they said, guess what? Who's got the whitest robe? You're the, Sheikh head de la whatever the crap, and you're the head man, and we'll bow down for you and take pictures and so on, and you're the guy in charge, but you're our guy in charge. This happened all over, and the people, through history and the internet, think about it. Yemen only has probably, I think it's like 15% or something of the people are on the internet. Here in the United States, it's like a lot more. And what we got Obama saying, we're going to give 98%. The government's going to do it because they love us. We got a project. We're going to have 98% access to the internet and mobile devices. We'll just give every school child or whatever. Whatever. We have, today is the last day of Robert Gibbs. Yeah, Robert Gibbs is his last day as White House spokesman. So, we'll see what happens there. He's been with Obama since 2004 when he was running for Senate. So I bet he's going to be part of the campaign going into 2012. So we'll see what happens there. Now, back in Egypt, we have the history, before all of this. Egypt has been very important in when there was a discovery of oil. And now Egypt doesn't have a lot of oil, but they transport a whole bunch of that oil through Egypt, going through the Suez Canal. So, what kind of strategic importance do they have? Quite a bit. Now, what I want to compare, if you look at the United States, we'll look at the population, average population, how many of them are male and female, and then we'll do that with Egypt. The difference is striking, and there's a reason, and it has ramification. We'll talk about more when we come back.